Hi, Achim Klöffel from InnerSpace Explorers. I've been asked repetitively now to do a video on ratio deco. Alright, we're going to do that now. The thing is, I'm not giving a lecture on ratio deco because that's something that needs to be done in a class. But what I want to do in this video is clear a couple of misconceptions, because recently somebody asked me if ratio deco is better than Bühlmann. I was like, yeah, it gives you an idea about the misconception that we have there. A lot of people think that ratio deco is a deco program or is a way to decompress, which is wrong. I mean, ratio deco is a tool that allows you to figure out how much deco you have to do after a dive or after your bottom time, exactly the same as if you would use a table or a computer or a desktop program. The benefit of ratio deco simply is that it allows you to adjust your decompression to your personal needs a lot easier than, for example, a table or a desktop computer program. And it requires you to understand how decompression works. But in the end, ratio deco is nothing else than exactly the same numbers that are given in certain tables, because the ratio deco just says there is a certain ratio between your bottom time and your decompression time. And somebody figured that out looking at a given table or looking at results given by certain programs. So as it only gives you a total amount of decompression, so let's say ratio 1:1, so the same amount of decompression than you have bottom time. So let's say you do a dive and you have 40 minutes of bottom time, so now you have 40 minutes of decompression. The benefit now is that you do not have a given curve. I mean, some people may take that as a drawback and not as a benefit. I think it's a benefit, because now you need to be educated and figure out how you spread this total amount of time over your ascent. So how do you build a decent curve that fits your needs? And now comes in what I said in the beginning, the benefit of being able to adjust the decompression to your needs. So if you now made a general decompression plan for a certain time at a certain depth, and the dive doesn't go that way, like you have to cut it short, you don't reach the desired depth, whatever, obviously you can quickly adjust your total decompression time. So when you see divers that have like runtime tables on them, and then the runtime is, for example, for 40 minutes at a certain depth, and they end up with 20 minutes at a shallower depth because something happens, and they still do the same decompression they have on this table, then that's because they cannot adjust. I mean, they just have that schedule and they have to run it. And then if they overstay their time, they sometimes try to catch up with their runtime table, which in a lot of cases ends in a decompression chamber. Sorry. So with the ratio deco, or as it was often called, deco on the fly, you are able to adjust in a very simple way, because there's a couple of very simple rules, a very simple set of rules that you have that allows you to change your profile in the flick of an eye. So normally what I say to my students is, if you do a decompression dive, your first guess switch is always 3 minutes minimum. So that's all you need to do your decompression. I mean, the calculation of your decompression, even if you have to take out your wet notes and write it down. And then you can still use like a given grid that I recommend that you have to have in your wet notes. So with your deco stops and a couple of columns where you just write in your linear numbers and you start spreading it out into an S-curve or whatever you want to build. So yeah, basically that's the thing. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that it is not a different way of decompression than what everybody else does. It's not the super secret way of ascending and not getting bent or something like that, because a lot of people still think this is some sort of voodoo thing, which it is not. It's just a simple tool to make your life as a diver easier, and if you understand it and you start diving with it and you get a little bit of practice, it's just super handy. And that's one of the reasons why we always say we don't need a computer and we don't want you to use a computer, because as soon as you do that, I mean, people are lazy, you start to rely on the computer, and that's something you cannot adjust. So the computer says that's the route you're going to take. The problem is the computer doesn't get bent. It's you who gets bent. So the computer doesn't know if you were exerting yourself during the dive. The computer doesn't know if you were cold. The computer doesn't know if you drink enough, if you had a good night's sleep, whatever. So it is you who knows that, who knows how the dive went. It's you who knows if he wants to add a little bit on the deeper section or on the more shallow section, which then again requires more knowledge about decompression, which requires proper training and education. But that's a different story. So yeah, that said, I can only point you out once more, this time with the correct link, because last time there was some mistyping in that and we couldn't fix it afterwards. So here's the link again to ISE. Check it out. There's a lot of really great theoretical content in the level 1 class, for example, that deals with decompression and with the ratio deco in specific. And yeah, have a look at it. Would love to see you on the water. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please check out the Patreon page. That's where I discuss in detail with the group there exactly what I can't do here on the on the general YouTube platform, because it just takes too much time. So check it out. Otherwise, have a look at our Facebook page, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you next time.